So I was asked to talk a little bit about your region and the Great Reset, and I don't claim to have, I'm not an economist, I don't claim to have perfect information, but I want to just give you some insights, sort of distilling down what we've seen in other places. I know a lot of you are focused on entrepreneurial ecosystems. Lots of different models for entrepreneurial ecosystems. I tend to like Dan Eisenberg's just because it's pretty comprehensive. But essentially, entrepreneurial ecosystems you can think of as essentially optimization engines, right? So in Silicon Valley, we have what the world pretty much recognizes as the most optimized innovation engine. Lots of places have these components. It's just they have some holes, right? And so one of the things that I think you really would want to make sure you're thinking about and how you're continually trying to build your innovation engine out is how you're creating more and more networks of people, more and more networks of companies, more and more connectivity between customers, future customers, and so on. And ultimately, how you're ensuring that coming out of the Great Reset, you're helping those, especially startups, to be able to have access to demand. Now, access to capital is really important, but what we've seen here in the US, and the studies, if you guys have ever looked at the work of the startup Genome company, which I literally just talked to just before this, they've got a lot of great research, but essentially what they say is out of the Great Reset, access to capital, access to human resources, those are all important. What governments need to do is help kickstart demand, because that actually is what has killed the engine for so many startups. It isn't that they don't still have access to markets. It's just that those markets in many cases have dried up temporarily. And unless they can restart demand, unless governments can actually help startups to be able to access to greater demand, you're going to have a nuclear winter for a period of time. You're going to have a great die-off of companies. We're already seeing it here in the United States. We right now, we believe 100,000 companies in the United States are not going to recover from the Great Reset. And that's just what we know right now. And so you've got to double down on these entrepreneurial ecosystems. And so I know, there's sort of a range of different historical processes around how you're building these networks. What I would strongly suggest is you need to double down on them. And you need to have far more networking and interaction. You've got to build more connectivity to organizations in other markets, such as in the US, like the Silicon Valley and beyond. You've got to see that we all have to see this as an opportunity to be able to take the learnings of building these connections between us digitally across markets. And then we've got to apply them to getting the information about market demand and then rapidly meeting that market demand. And so, again, I'm happy to talk about specific industries and ideas for doing that.